Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new series to the channel. This series is Trams in Europe that will be looking at the various tram or light rail systems, if you like, throughout Europe. This basically, the way I plan to structure this, although this might change, is basically the first part of this video will be a commentary giving you an in-depth overview of the history, the current standing fleet lines, and just a bit of general context of the tram network in that particular city, and then also some future plans, if there are any, for that tram network. So to start off the series, we are in Aarhus in Denmark. So I guess first of all, a bit of geography and a bit of background regarding Aarhus in Denmark. Aarhus is the second biggest city in Denmark, in Scandinavia, in Northern Europe. It has a population of about 350,000, but it's located in the Jutland region, which has a much larger population. And this will kind of be relevant later when we start discussing a bit more about the Aarhus Letbane or the Aarhus Letbane. So basically, the way I plan to do this is first of all give kind of a brief history of how the Letbane came about, a bit of fun facts, I guess, if you will, although I won't necessarily say it's a fun fact, just kind of like, yeah, intuitive, I guess. And then talk more about the lines, the trams, and then a bit more context, I guess, and then finally about the future plans. And then what I'll do is I'll turn off the microphone. Well, this is going to be edited, but basically afterwards there'll be timestamped. You can just enjoy no commentary footage of the actual tram system. So yeah, let me know, folks, how you find this series, and if you like this format. Feedback is always helpful. So basically, the Aarhus Letbane is the name for the light rail system in Aarhus, and I think Letbane is something for like light rail or tram. Because basically in other cities this is also called Letbane. The Aarhus Letbane was the first tram to operate in Denmark since 1971. So like many other cities in particularly Northern and Western Europe, there were trams in Denmark before, but in 1971, which is rather late compared to most of the European cities. Most other Western European cities have gotten rid of their trams much earlier than 1971, so it's a bit strange that they got rid of them at 1971. But anyway, because at some point there were trams in Copenhagen. But anyway, basically, after 1971, there was no trams in Denmark. This made Aarhus the first city in Denmark to have a light rail system. The Aarhus light rail those talks began about constructing an Aarhus light rail in the early 2000s. However, again, as we all know, these transfer projects tend to take time. There's a cabinet process, and it began construction in about 2012. The line opened, the first part, so basically it opened in 3 stages. The first stage, it was originally the Aarhus Letbane was meant to launch in 2016, but again, as we all know, with these transport projects, they tend to run behind schedule. It didn't happen to open until 2017. 2017 was quite important for Aarhus because it's actually, in 2017, Aarhus was the cultural capital of Europe, and in fact, if you ever go to Aarhus, you'll see along the footpaths, unless they removed them by then, but in 2022 they're still there on the footpaths. It has the cultural capital of Europe 2017, something along those lines. And the Letbane was a key component of basically promoting Aarhus as the cultural capital. However, of course, this perhaps wasn't particularly gone as would have been planned, because it actually didn't open until 21st of December 2017, which is really realistically pretty much as late as you can get before Christmas. And yeah, realistically, you won't be getting something open much later in the year. And then also, another fun fact is that actually the trams apparently ran for 100,000 kilometers just as ghost trams, not picking up passengers while doing testing. There's something to do with basically some safety procedures. So the trams ran for 110,000. Now, I'm not sure if this is true, but this is one of the articles. I misread, but 100,000 kilometers as ghost trams, because obviously the testing works before they actually ran into service. The first section to open, so this is going to be a bit bulky because there's quite a lot to get through here, and this is also, the Aarhus light rail system is actually quite interesting because it's rather contrasted and different to most tram systems or light rail systems out there. So essentially the first part that opened was between, I'll show you now, these 2 areas here, so not this area, sorry. So basically, the first part to open was the part of the L2 running from Aarhus H, which basically stands for Aarhus Hovedbanegård, which, if we can translate from Danish, is Aarhus Central Station, all the way up to Aarhus Universitetshospital, which basically is just Aarhus University Hospital. And as you can see here, this is the Aarhus Central Station, and then this here is the Aarhus University Hospital. So these are basically, this is where the first part of the line opened. Not sure afterwards, I think it was the Listrup part and the Listrup Skollen part that opened. And then they launched the other Bahn part, which was from here, and that was in 2018. And then finally in 2019, the L1 launched, which was all the way to Grenu. Now, some fun facts about fun facts, but also rather interesting parts that are kind of important context here. The Aarhus tram system is different in this, or the light rail system is different because it has both street running, it has also rural running, basically segregated, it has bridge structures, and it also has tram train running. So pretty much has all the kind of components you could get in a light rail system. The Aarhus Letbane, like a lot of modern light rail systems in Europe, does run on old railway infrastructure. For example, this is also the case with the Lewis in Dublin. I think the London tramway system is also similar to that extent. So actually, the only new part of the Aarhus Letbane was this part here on the map between Aarhus Central Station and Lisbdrup, and also Lisbjerg-Skollen. This is only 12 kilometers of the total, currently 110 kilometers of the entire Aarhus Letbane region. So basically, the 12 kilometers is the one that runs on street for the most part, or predominantly, and is basically indented tracks, as you can see here. When I say indented tracks, it's basically not it's kind of like the tram tracks no one's used to, rather than this kind of track here. I forget the name of it. The rest of the line, so basically the part from Aarhus Central Station to Other, is part of the previous Other Bahn, and then the part from Aarhus Central Station to Grenu is also part of the Grenu Bahn. Basically, these are previous train infrastructures that existed. I'm not sure if they were used, but they were electrified. Bridges were upgraded to make them comply with modern safety standards, because I think some of it was some stuff with that, but basically it was upgraded and then it was integrated within the light rail system. This also means that the Aarhus Letbane extends very far out and way past the Aarhus region. This is the Aarhus region, but the light rail system of Aarhus goes to the region of Other, the region of Sud Ursland, and also Nord Ursland, which is just south of North Ursland. This basically means that it has 14 zones altogether, so there's 14 fare zones on the Aarhus Letbane, and it extends very far out of the city of Aarhus. This is quite unique for a light rail system, because generally the light rail systems tend to be confined to within the area of the city, or sometimes the greater surrounding area. Well, this extends way past what we would consider the part of the Aarhus city area. For example, some places like Lisbjerg have inhabitants about 14,000. It's a separate town altogether. Yeah, that sort of thing. Now, the reason this was built was basically because there was issues with congestion as well. So this was a way to kind of modernize and basically make stuff more environmentally friendly, and to tackle the congestion and link the areas together. Okay, there's that. So currently the Aarhus Letbane is 110 kilometers long, and there is two lines, the L1 and the L2. Now, do bear in mind that sometimes they kind of operate to different parts under the same name. And also, rather interestingly, the L1 is actually not the first line to launch, because the L1 is the newest line, but for some reason that's called the L1 and the L2 is the older line. So I guess we go here in chronological order. The L1 runs from Aarhus Central Station all the way to Greno. This is about 70 kilometers long, and a lot of it is tram train operation. So it does extend quite fast out, and we'll get to the fleet later, and then again we'll link this back to the L1 and L2. On the other hand, the L2 runs from Other to Lisbjerg, or Other to Lisbjerg-Skollen. But that's not all. Sometimes we have trams running from Aarhus Central Station to Lisbjerg-Skollen or Other, and some or to Lisbjerg, and not Other, sorry. And sometimes we have them running from Aarhus Central Station just to Aarhus University Hospital. So yes, generally they can operate at different lengths, although altogether they generally offer a combined frequency of 10 minutes. And also there is some sort of financial guarantee that if the Letbane runs more than 20 minutes late, you can be compensated, i.e. if you have to get a taxi, something like that. So basically they are very concerned with making it sure it's very punctual. It's also a thing I know is generally known that trains in Germany run like clockwork, but apparently, and this is actually also a thing in Denmark, the Danish train system is quite advanced and also does run like clockwork, although the trains aren't like the most modern, but inside they're quite nice. But yes, so punctuality is a major thing within the Aarhus Letbane. I guess we'll take a look at some of the terminal points now before we go on to the fleet. So basically, this is the Aarhus Central Station. Sorry, this is... Sorry, there we go. Basically, I accidentally clicked on my mouse. So basically, this here is this is where the L1 turns around. So also to note is that the L1 is essentially not. It does serve some areas in Aarhus, but literally it's more essentially like just a interurban train that just goes out of the city very quickly. It doesn't. It runs about every hour, and sometimes it only runs to Romgard, although most of the time it will run all the way to Grenu. And this one basically is most of it is segregated track. It is essentially old Grenu Banen, and this is where it's basically where it's over at the Aarhus Central Station. And then this is like many of the current, many of the newer tram systems, particularly in the UK, the Aarhus Letbane or the Aarhus Light Rail system also connects to the integrated within the main train station. So this is the main train station. You can see there a train in the background. And then we also have here Aarhus University Hospital. This is essentially where this was the first terminal while they were basically finishing up stuff. So as you can see here, there are 3 tracks. This one's terminated here. Usually they'd be using the track to the left or the track to the right to just continue forward. Then also we have Listrup. Basically, this is where the new tram track connects with the Granubanen line, which is the L1, and from here you can catch the L1. Usually it's quicker to travel from List. If you want to go to Aarhus, it's quicker to take the L1 down. The L2 takes a more convoluted route. After that, we also have Lisbjergskollen. This is a rather interesting terminus because, as you'll notice on the map, show you now. Yeah, I'll show you now. I will. There you go. Yeah, so as you can see here on the map, the Lisbjergskollen literally is just a one branch off from Lisbjerg Brigade. So what this means is that essentially as a terminus, it doesn't serve much point currently, but the reason for this is, we'll get to that later, so make sure you stay tuned for that. There is a reason. It's not just randomly decided to chuck on 2 terminals for the sake of it. Okay. Then here we have the other terminus. So this is again integrated within a train station, so you can catch trains for the left. There's also gates here. I think sometimes the trams can wait there if they're staying overnight, but that's not where the depot is. And then this is finally Grenu. This is a coastal town, and this is where the L1 terminates. And the depot is located here it's near the Aarhus Central Station. This is unfortunately, I didn't really get a chance to take pictures there. Because you could get it from a bridge, but basically time not allowed. But yeah, the Aarhus depot is pretty much near the station. This brings us on to the tram fleet. Here are just some pictures, but yeah. So the Aarhus Letbane is operated by 2 trams. They're both Stadler trams, so basically there are 26 trams altogether. There's 14 Variobahns and there is 12 Tango low floor Tram-Trains. So basically the difference is that these Tram-Trains, because the L1 is mainly a intercity or interurban line, this needs kind of like faster trams that can reach 100 kilometers an hour. And then the L2, the Variobahns, these are the same ones that are used on the London tramways. These ones are more suited for kind of operating as a tram. So as you can see here are the features. They have 14, these are used on the L2. Whilst these ones are used on the L1, although they can appear on the L2 sometimes. The Tango trains, both of them are fully low floor and wheelchair accessible. And yeah, that's essentially the reason why they have 2 tram types. Finally, the last thing to talk about is the future of the Aarhus Letbane. And then we'll go on to the footage, which will be no commentary and again timestamp for you. So this is not the end of the Aarhus Letbane. Currently it is 110 kilometers, featuring the 30 kilometers that is connecting Oder to Aarhus Central Station. The 70 kilometers is connecting Aarhus Central Station to Grenu. And then the about 12 kilometers that's completely new around the Aarhus, Listrup and Lisbjergskollen. Now, this is where it becomes important why they have this Lisbjergskollen terminus. Now, why in fact they bothered even building this Lisbjergskollen terminus, I guess, is just to... It does seem kind of strange because obviously it's only one stop along the new line, but they will extend the line in the future. So in the future, it's going to extend past Lisbjergskollen all the way to Hinnerup. So that is why we have this is just part of what will be the Lisbjergskollen. If we take a look here, as you can see, at the moment there's only 1 track though, so presumably in the future they'll fit in another track somewhere there. But yeah, again, the way they've designed this, unless they make it a single track, but that'll be a very interesting light rail. Then you really have it all in the Aarhus Letbane. Yeah. Then the second extension they also plan to do is all the way to Bradbrand. That one is essentially going to be, for the most part, entirely new and will be running westwards. And then finally, there's also plans to extend it down to Kreuzkirchweg near Skanderborg. But the two main ones at the moment are Hinderup and Brandbrand. So yes, this is not the end of the Letbane, and in fact, this is also to mention is that it's operated by Mid-Traffic, which is basically the kind of like, it's not operated by Mid-Traffic. Yeah, I think it's owned by Mid-Traffic. It's operated by Keolis. Keolis actually operates the Letbane, but there's no advertising or like logos of the Keolis. But then Mid-Traffic is kind of the ones that I think oversee it. That they kind of oversee the entire bus network in the Jutland region in Denmark. But yeah, the Letbane has been quite successful. So it's also recently there was one launched in Odense, which will be the topic of one of the next videos in the series, or next video in the series. And then also they're building one in the Copenhagen region, which was due to open in 2025. So yes, a light rail revolution in some sorts is occurring in Denmark. Folks, that brings us to the end, to the commentary part of this video. Next up is the footage. Don't make sure to subscribe to the channel to follow more of this Trams in Europe series. Let me know how you found it. Thumbs down, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, all that. Join the Discord if you wish. And yeah, you can post your own pictures there. That's it, folks. Now enjoy the footage.
Næste stop, Lysbjergbygade. Lysbjergbygade. Næste stop, Klokhøj. mod Aarhus Hovedbanegård. Tramline 2 towards Aarhus Central Station. Næste stop, Olof Palmes Allé. Olof Palmes Allé. Linje 2 mod